While many fans of the NBA community thought that this Orlando Magic team was a team on the rise with a bunch of good young ascending pieces and that they could potentially make a push into the play-in tournament and to finally get some postseason experience with this young core, they have exceeded and overachieved everybody's expectations, including that of the Orlando Magic fan base. If I would have told you going into this season that in 2024, more than a quarter of the way through the season, this Orlando Magic team was going to be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, they would sit with a record of 19-13, and they would be a top 2 defensive team in all of basketball, you probably would have told me that I'm crazy. But here we are in 2024. This Orlando Magic team continues to exceed everybody's expectations. They're gaining the notoriety from former and current NBA players, and they are led by their young duo in both Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who are taking the league over by storm. When I take a look at the landscape of the NBA, I look at so many great duos out there and great young teams. Take a look at Houston with Jalen Green and Jabari Smith, what they can potentially keep doing as they continue to rise together. SGA and Chet Holmgren out in Oklahoma City. And even though SGA's been in the league for a good amount of time now, that's still a good young core and nucleus. Take a look in New Orleans with Zion Williamson if he can stay healthy, and Brandon Ingram, even though BI's been in the league for a handful of seasons now. But when you compare that to what Orlando's doing, they have exceeded everybody's expectations, and Banchero and Franz Wagner are putting up historical numbers at their age and what they're doing. Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero have put the Orlando Magic back on the map, something that we have not really seen since the days of Dwight Howard, and they are finally gaining the respect and notoriety that they deserve from guys in the media and current NBA players. Take a look at Kenny the Jet Smith from TNT, and I'm going to paraphrase his quote. He said that Paolo Banchero was better than Jalen Brunson. When he talked about the New York Knicks stepping out onto the court, they're always going to have the second or third best player when they're going up in the postseason versus a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference. And he stated that Paolo Banchero is a better player than Jalen Brunson. And take a look at what Paolo Banchero did versus JB and the New York Knicks in the Magic's 117-108 victory over the New York Knicks the other night at the Kia Center. Paolo Banchero, 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 47% shooting from the field. Take a look at Jaylen Brown, 20 points, 7 rebounds, and shot 27% from the field. And 12 of those points, I might add, were from the charity stripe. Paolo Banchero dominated that performance. He had another incredible game the other night versus the Phoenix Suns, and so did Franz Wagner. And this team is gaining the notoriety that they deserve. When you take a look at that performance on New Year's Eve when the Magic played in Phoenix, even though Phoenix won that game 112-107, Orlando had their opportunities down the stretch. Too many turnovers, too many missed three-pointers, but Banchero and Franz Wagner showed out. Banchero in that performance, 28, 9, and 7. Franz Wagner in that performance, 27, 7, and 6. Two-time Finals MVP and one of the greatest players in the game of basketball, Kevin Durant had high praise for Paolo Banchero and this team after the Suns win. He stated, "Banchero is a force, especially when he got the 3 ball going like that. He only had 2 free throws and he still had 28 points, 12 of 23, was efficient, had 9 rebounds and 7 assists. He's basically a point guard out there. He's going to be a force for a long time, and this team is going to be a force if they stay together and if they keep growing." This Orlando Magic team right now reminds me a lot of what Oklahoma City had back in their days when they went to the finals and they were just puppies, even though they lost to Miami, when you had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, James Harden, and the list goes on. I can see the remnants of this team. And really adding to that point about how Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and this Orlando Magic team really stacks up with that Oklahoma City team, take a look at this number. The only duos 22 years of age and younger to average 25, 6, and 4 over a 6-game span within the same season is Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant in their days back in Oklahoma City. The numbers don't lie. And while numbers don't always tell the whole story, you can see the continuous improvement and growth with this team in both Banchero and Franz Wagner. Take a look at P5 and how much he's improved from year 1 to year 2. Take a look at his numbers from year 1. 20 points per game, 3.7 assists per game, shot 42% from the field, 29% from behind the arc, and had a 114.3 defensive rating. Now flip that over to year 2 and look at the ascension and growth in his game. 21.7 points per game, 4.7 assists per game, 46.5% from the field, nearly 36% from behind the arc, and a 111.2 defensive rating. When you talk about Banchero, his ability to stay poised, get to his shot, slow down the offense, and knows how to pick his spots, he does an incredible job of getting to his spots. He's going to attack the defense. He's going to be able to get downhill. You have to respect his three-point shot now, and he does a great job of opening it up for other guys, especially once he gets downhill and the defense has to collapse. Paolo Banchero, you've seen the growth in his game and the efficiency in his game continue to grow in year 2. And then take a look at Franz Wagner, a guy from year 2 to year 3, how much he's grown and how much better his game has gotten. Now, the shooting has taken a little bit of a dip, but I don't expect that to continue to go. I expect that to continuously get better as the season progresses. So take a look at Franz Wagner in year 2 and what he did. 18.6 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 48% shooting from the field, and 36% from three-point range. Now take a look at Franz Wagner this year. A career high in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. 21 points a game, 6 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game, shooting 46% from the field. And yes, the three-point shooting needs to get better, 28% from behind the arc. And a lot can be said about Franz Wagner the same way I talked about Paolo Banchero and his offensive game. He is a Swiss Army knife, one of the most underrated young players in the game of basketball today. He's a guy that's able to get downhill, push the ball in transition. He's a very underrated passer, has one of the best and most beautiful Euro steps in the game of basketball, and his ability to create off the dribble, that pick and roll that he has in that chemistry with Mo Wagner and a couple of the other bigs on the team. Franz Wagner is an incredible, well-rounded player, and he is one of the best young forwards in the game of basketball. And although Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are the catalyst for why this young duo is making this Orlando Magic team so great, it is a total and team collective effort. And take a look at the Orlando Magic. They have a very sporadic team when you talk about their offensive efficiency, the way that they're able to score the ball, and also their defensive tenacity. Let's take a look at some of Orlando's ranks this season. They rank 23rd in points per game. They rank number 5 in opponent points per game. Number 15, so middle of the pack in field goal percentage. They are dead last in the association in three-point percentage, but they are number 2 in defensive efficiency. If Anthony Parker and Jeff Weltman can continue to develop the right pieces and bring in the right pieces around Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner via the draft or via free agency, maybe even the trade deadline, this Orlando Magic team can make a deep postseason run, not just this season, but for the future moving forward. And you have seen how much of a force Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner have been this season. Despite the Orlando Magic being one of the youngest teams in the association and being a team that still has little to no playoff experience, there are still going to be doubters and naysayers about this Orlando Magic team until they get into the postseason and they actually prove that they can go and compete with the best of the best in a 7-game series. I believe in this Orlando Magic team. I believe in the culture and the identity of what they've brought in with the other pieces surrounding Banchero and Franz Wagner. I believe in Jamal Mosley, and this is one of the best young teams in the game of basketball. Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are one of the best young duos in the game of basketball, and they are next up in terms of running the league. Magic fans, NBA fans, please let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys make of Banchero and Franz Wagner's performances this season and how they really stack up with some of the best young duos in the game of basketball? Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And before we head out, if you guys please could, go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Orlando Magic content that we do here on the HQ. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me, Brett James, and Orlando Magic HQ on all of our socials, especially on Twitter. We're both very active and we're on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below so that you guys can go ahead and check that out. But Magic fans, thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. And like always, let's go Magic.